I've added XAMP, which is distributed by Apache Friends, and that gives you a prepackaged Apache 2 web server with PHP and Perl and everything. Wow. There's a mail server and everything all bundled into one download and install.
So you're hosting your own website?
I'm not doing it now. I will put some stuff there for demo purposes for my customers.
Gotcha.
And if I need to be able to get files quickly to a customer, then I can drop them on that server, because it's rather than upload them to the internet and then have them download them, why not just go ahead and drop them on my server and let people pick them up right from there?
Right. Good idea. Cool.
So and then the Dyn DNS, client gives me a subdomain name that I can, create a link from my website, or, send an email to somebody. They don't have to figure out my IP address, which changes all the time.
Right.
And so I'm really pleased with the fact that the laptop, I was running it on a P4 before I put it on the laptop. And I noticed that once I got the system, since it's just basically doing an internet connection sharing, I noticed that my hard drive on the Pentium 4 desktop just would hardly ever run, as far as accessing data, but was sitting there all day long spinning. So I thought, what I should do is, and so I ordered off of eBay. I ordered a CF, IDE to CF adapter, bought a high-speed compact flash memory card, and I've got that in there so that I'm running Windows off of a compact flash.
Are you really?
I've got a solid-state hard drive.
As long as it lasts.
Well, we'll see.
Right.
I know when I put it into service, so we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, that's an interesting experiment.
But as it stands now, the only moving part now, it's got a modular drive base, so I took the CD-ROM drive out. So the only moving part in the laptop now is the cooling fan.
Right. That's the way to do it. Smart. Good one. What else you got, Greg?
Well, where are we at? When I got to the idea of doing well, I turned my website on last week, and so I had Google AdWords queued up for a couple days before that. Not live, but in queue on this date at midnight, go live.
Yeah.
And I was doing all the finishing work, getting everything tweaked, so that I thought I could handle some traffic, and Google AdWords goes live and nothing happens. So for everybody, when Google says that they're going to immediately start putting ads out, they were only putting out, I think, 14 ads a day for the first couple of days. And now, after a week, they're up to, I think, about 140. They call them impressions a day.
I gotcha. Now, it might have something to do with your budget. I mean, if you could tell Google, just, I want you to flat out show this as much as you want until my budget's expended. Or you could tell it to, like, spread it out. My budget is $20 for the month. Spread it out over the 20 to 30 days. It depends how you set it up, I think. Because when I turn on AdWords, it's on. Like 5 minutes, bam, my ad's up there, and it's there. So for different things.
I budgeted $10 a day, and I set a maximum bid of $2.39. I heard someone mention that in one of the podcasts.
Yeah, that sounds good. It depends on your area, but that's about what I was doing.
Yeah, it's not working for me. I've had a week to kind of look at it and try to figure out what's happening. What is being shown now, they prompt you to put in a lot of AdWords. And then even after I had them in, I think over 100 keywords. They wanted me to put another 100 keywords in, and I didn't do that, but I thought I had all the combinations that would be applicable for my business. And what's being shown now are secondary keywords. So my budget's not high enough.
I got you. Either AdWords does take tweaking. You don't want to get caught up in making your keywords too general. In other words, you don't want to spend money for the word computer. You want to spend money for the word computer repair. You don't want to spend money for the word computer parts, because that could mean somebody wants to build their own machine. They have a broken machine and they want to fix it themselves. So you got to really pick and choose your keywords and not get too general and not end up spending a ton of money and thinking AdWords doesn't work. But again, if the competition is high in your area, you're going to spend more, and it might not be feasible for you to do it. If competition isn't so high in different areas, then AdWords might be a good choice to get you some traffic. I mean, it so depends on location and competition these days.
Yeah. Well, what I kind of diagnosed was when I was setting it up, it let me pick my geographical area. I expanded it out to 30 miles. I really wanted to be 20, but most of the towns around Gainesville, and if you go north, you're going up into the mountains, much more remote. I wanted to pick up those towns because I knew I wouldn't have the competition that I had right in Gainesville. So I picked up those towns, but the problem with Gainesville and Hull County is we're not part of the government statistical metropolitan Atlanta area, but Google puts our county as part of Metro Atlanta. So when you go through and set up Google AdWords for this area, anybody in Atlanta that says, I want to advertise in Metro Atlanta, they're getting coverage in my county.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm 50 miles from Atlanta, too.
Yeah, but you could set up radiuses. Have you seen that? It used to, anyway. You could just make a circle. And actually, I think you could even change the shape now. So you could put your radius wherever you want. I mean, you don't have to say, you don't have to type in a zip code. You actually draw on the map where you want it to target.
Right. But these IT companies that are down in Atlanta are paying big bucks.
I see.
And when I do a search in Gainesville, I'm getting Atlanta-based companies.
I see what you're saying. I see. So it hurts your competition for you.
So I have to pay Atlanta rates to advertise in Gainesville.
I see. That's super lame. Oh.
So, guys, when if you're near a metropolitan area, you'll have to research it and see if that's going to be a problem.
Right. Right.
So what it forces me into doing is, if I'm going to pay Atlanta rates, then I might as well do work in Atlanta.
I guess so.
But I don't want to drive to Atlanta, so I'm going to focus on remote support.
Okay.
So so then I was thinking, how am I going to do this and test this? And I'm hosting through GoDaddy, or a derivative of it. I ought to mention, I haven't heard it mentioned on any of the daily podcasts. If you're wanting to get into being a domain reseller, resell all of basically the GoDaddy product, you can use their private label reseller arm is wildwestdomains.com.
Okay.
So you can sign up there for $100, $200 a year and resell that stuff. And where it may be handy for some guys is you can, if you become a reseller, you set your prices. So you don't have to be at GoDaddy prices. They can be higher. You say, I'll get you set up with whatever services you need, because, GoDaddy does more than just web hosting. But it's your own domain. It's your own company name. So you can set it up sort of like a web store in adjacent to, to your business name. And then you create their own login and everything. So you can access their account and set up DNS and do those things for them, but it's still their account and they're paying the bills.
Right. So you're just reselling web hosting.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm not a fan of GoDaddy. Their interface, mainly their selling techniques. But all my domains are registered with GoDaddy, but my hosting, and like I said it before, the only reason my domains are still there is because I got to pay to take them all off and transfer them. So I just for the sake of sanity, I left them there for now. But I'm really liking HostGator, and I use all my hosting is HostGator for all my sites, and I like that they use cPanel. I love cPanel, and that's the interface you get from HostGator. And I've not done HostGator reselling, but everything else I've done on HostGator I like. So that's my recommendation. But I can't really fully recommend the reselling because I haven't done it. But I try to get as much away from GoDaddy as I can. Not a big fan these days.
Well, we got to all throw stuff at the big guys, you know.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
I know.
But you know, their service is stable, and I've been with them, 12 or more whenever they came online, and as an entity, I've been with them that long. And you know, I don't have problems with them, you know, so their interface drives me crazy because periodically they redesign it, and then you sit there for an hour trying to figure out how to do something that should take 5 minutes.
I know, exactly. Now, Dan in the chat room is not a fan of HostGator reselling, but
okay.
that is one man's opinion. I hear you, Dan. All right, what else?
Well, one thing about GoDaddy right now, or I was a reseller and Wild West, and then I stopped. So then they move you off onto another domain. So, but they all go to secureserver.net. So, yeah. So I'll just say GoDaddy for a generic. But right now, when I went to a new paid web hosting service, with them, I got $100 free Google AdWords, $50 Bing, and $50 Facebook. So if you at $6.95 a month, I'm pretty much my first year is paid for, and with what I was going to spend at Google anyway.
I got you.
So
yeah, but those $100 AdWords things are available at other places too.
Okay. I'm not a GoDaddy employee, and like I said, I'm not a reseller.
I know you're trying to give good advice. Oh, Dan did have a retort in the chat room. He says the VPS or dedicated hosting is good. Shared hosting, he's not a fan. So just so you know.
Yeah. Well, they were really cheap if you were doing Windows.
Yeah.
They were really cheap on Windows. I mean, they were way below everybody else. They didn't, when they started offering Windows hosting, they were offering it the same price as Linux hosting.
You're talking about GoDaddy or HostGator?
GoDaddy.
Oh. When I was talking about Dan, did I say HostGator or GoDaddy? I always say them wrong. Well, I meant HostGator if I did say GoDaddy. But no, GoDaddy, you were saying the Windows was cheaper than Linux?
No, same price.
Oh, okay.
Same price. And back, 5-10 years ago, you always paid more for NT server,
Interesting. That's good.
So, but I got away from that. Like I said, I've been working with dual boot systems for over 12 years now. So started out with Red Hat and currently Ubuntu. So
really?
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you listen to Linux for the rest of us?
Haven't yet. I got all these podcasts to go through for daily.
I know. You might like them, man. You might like them. When you're done daily, check them out because you're going to run out eventually.
I mean, I'm still building a business. I need all the tips I can get from daily.
Of course. No, I'm with you.
So anyway, now I'm forcing myself into a situation where I'm going to either myself or somebody else, we're going to be having to man the chat and the website,
Right.
And that means I've got a lot of downtime, or I'll call it bandwidth, available. So I was thinking, since the community had got me interested, gave me the idea that maybe I ought to focus on more live support, because that was something nobody was doing. It gave me an edge in a market that is pretty saturated from my point of view.
Right.
I used to do a lot of online work from sites where you would go, sign up and